Well, as you can see by my hair, Tim, I've been yanking it out all weekend. So get it out. Please get it out of your system now, because I want to talk about this.
Why would I do that, Matt?
No, because you should. I would do. Trust me. You know that if the Mets got swept by the Marlins or by the Phillies or by whoever, I'd be. You'd
be in my grill. You'd be laughing. I actually think it's almost pathetic what's going on in the Bronx. Not only are you guys chucking baseballs on the field and doing things that I'd expect to be happening in Philadelphia. Sorry, Philly fans, but that's more what you guys do.
See, that to me, by the way, that is such a perfect response. That actually makes me feel worse. Pathetic is worse than, I mean, that to me is like,
I just, here's what I don't want you to do. I like Booney. I think he's a good guy. I think it might be an overreaction, but the question is, do the Yanks need a leader or do they need a babysitter over there? I don't know.
Well, funny you should say that. I mean, that's where I was going to go with this, because if you listen to the fan today, and all fans are the same. You start off 5-10, you're going to lose 110 games. You start off 10-5, you're going to win 110. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, right?
Yep.
But they're all calling for it. Not only Booney's head, but they're calling for Cash's head too. They want a changing of the guard. It dawned on me. Well, we can talk about the Yankees a little, but it dawned on me that Netflix reports tomorrow. Yep. Obviously, Disney's made huge strides in their competition, and we did have a changing of the guard. And maybe, listen, I thought when Bob Iger stepped down, that was going to be a death knell for Disney, but maybe they needed that change of pace.
Well, when Iger stepped down, and when we got the announcement, it was off-timed. It wasn't ill-timed. It was off. It was not what we expected. No, whereas, of course, the changing of the guard at the lead singer spot in AC/DC was really just unfortunate. When Bon Scott drank himself into oblivion, and ultimately, Brian Jones came in, and what's amazing is sounds more like Bon Scott than Bon Scott, but that's for another show.
It's another show.
Ridiculous, though, and in fact, arguably, AC/DC went to bigger heights with its new lead singer trying to sound like its old.
So let me ask you a question: is there a better look in the history of rock and roll? Is it Angus Young?
Angus.
Yeah,
it's
that British schoolboy outfit. I mean, it's great.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I went to a costume wedding about 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, where we were supposed to dress up as 70s TV characters. And I went as Magnum PI, and my buddy went as Eddie Munster. And as the evening,
hold on, just let me stop for you. Once, I don't mean to do this, but the Munsters are 60s. That's heavy 60s. Like, he really, I mean, I think he was playing outside the rules there.
Maybe he was, and maybe it was 60s, 70s, and 80s. I don't know. And in fact, maybe it was 60s and 70s, because I think Magnum PI was 70s. No,
sure it was.
Anyway. Love Selleck on Blue Bloods, by the way. I watched that in syndication as much as I can. But so Eddie Munster, by the time it turned to midnight and everyone was really hammered and dancing around, everybody thought he was Bon Scott. It's a very similar outfit. And
or
he had
Angus,
the velvet
Angus
shorts.
Young.
Well, yes, that's what I mean. Sorry, Angus Young. That's what I mean. He had the velvet shorts on. His shirt was off. And I'm sure he was playing a lot of air guitar. So Netflix reports tomorrow.
Yes,
and the question is, again, talk about, leadership. You could have made an argument, I think a lot of people did, that a year ago, if you asked 10 people, especially Netflix fans, but who's got the most edgy, up and coming, who's the better content machine right now? Is it Netflix or Disney? And I think, the thing that's hard for me to acknowledge about Netflix ascent is that when Orange is the New Black was one of their first kind of landmark breakthroughs on content, I said, all right, so they've got one. But it really got to a place where Netflix has been argued to be churning out more content than Disney. The question now really, though, is now that the focus is back on the studios and Disney's is able to issue in both in theaters, but also in PVOD. That's right. That's premium video on demand, guy, for the folks at home. Is Disney back? Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. One of those things.
Well, the performance of the stock over the last 9 months tells you they're back. I mean, that moved from 120 to I did it. I don't know if it traded over 200, but it got definitely in the high 190s.
It kissed. It
kissed it. That was a monumental move, and you'd been making a point all along that, listen, they don't deserve a Netflix valuation necessarily, but it's got to be a lot more of a valuation than they've been getting, and that's what's happened, I think. So it's gonna be fascinating to see what happens with Netflix. I'll give you a show that you should watch.
Okay.
I watched it with my wife and daughter. I don't know if it's Netflix. I don't think it is. It might be like the Hulu thing or Amazon. I have no idea.
The Hulu
thing.
Yep.
This show, 60 Days In, is
Talk to me,
just
crazy,
I know nothing, crazy show.
I know less about what do you got?
That's where a prison will bring in. You want
to watch this with your?
We'll bring in 6 civilians to infiltrate. Yes, I'm using the word, to infiltrate the population and to report back.
Hold on.
Yes,
it's like prison narcs. Prison narcs. I mean,
it should be called prison narcs, and it's crazy.
Honestly, I don't know who would take that job.
Funny you should say that. That was exactly what I said. I'm like, why would you subject yourself to this? Because you go in full bore as a convict, the whole thing. I mean, the strip down search, the put this on, the spread your cheeks and cough without getting into great detail. That's what we've been watching over the last couple of days.
All right. Yeah. Spread your cheeks. And I went from actually just thinking about more innocent things like narcs, undercover. I was thinking about the early days of 21 Jump Street, for example. Like, Johnny Depp, man, out of the gates. DeLuise's son. What was his name? I don't know.
I don't know. But that to me, I don't know if it's I don't know what it is, but 60 Days In, check it out.
60 Days In. You do not want to be the person that has to do that in real life. And do you want to be the person that has to replace Reed Hastings? I don't know. I don't know if that time is anytime near, but I don't think you want to be clinging to a Netflix valuation. It's one thing for Disney to get close to a Netflix valuation, but I think going into tomorrow, I'm not sure I want to be Netflix having a Netflix valuation. Guy Adami, I know you liked Marilyn, but Marilyn who on the Munsters? I mean, I guess that's kind of an obvious.
No, I mean, the way you got to go is the Munsters of the Addams family. You're going with Morticia Addams
or Lily.
You're going with Lily Munster. I mean, that's really what comes down to. That's the question.
Dude,
that's the question for the audience.
Yeah. Tish, you spoke French. Guy, I'll see you tomorrow.
Later.